Once upon a time, there was a young man. His name was Twm. Twm was a farmer. He farmed the banks of the River Tywi in what is today the town of Llandeilo. Back then it was called Llandeilo Fawr. This is many hundreds of years ago. It was a very rich, prosperous place, as it still sort of is today, because the land itself took very little to grow anything out of. You could just drop seeds and up your crops would come.
So this afternoon we have had a wonderful session with Kerry and Beth Ann, who are members of People Speak Up, and they have delivered a storytelling session with music incorporated into it, which has been such a special session.
And he felt a presence next to him, just to his right, and he looked over, and standing there, drinking from the swollen river, was a horse. Not just any horse, the most beautiful horse he'd ever seen. She was tall, much taller than any horse Twm could even imagine, white as the driven snow, with no bridle, no saddle. She looked strong, she looked fast, and Twm thought to himself, hey, I could use a horse like this. The storytelling side of it, you could tell at the beginning, there's almost always an initial, if mostly momentary reluctance. You've got a man just launching into speaking in front of them. And it's not the same interaction as if it were a lecture, a talk, or if somebody's doing, a reading. It's a different thing because I'm just, all of a sudden, just telling them a tale. We are all innately, I think, tuned in to narrative in that way. So they very quickly warm to it. And you can see them sinking in their chairs slightly. Sometimes they close their eyes. Hopefully they don't fall asleep. But even if they do, great, it's taking you back to childhood. It's taking you back to being sat down in your grandmother's airing cupboard with all your cousins and brothers and sisters and her saying, right, I'm going to tell you a story. That's what I aim for, is to get people back to that.
So Kerry and I, Kerry is storyteller, myself as musician, we're collaborating, and Kerry will be telling some stories, and I don't know which stories he will be telling. So it's a bit of a guessing game, and then we start off that I play along on the piano and some other instruments to match the mood of the story when Kerry signals. And then later on we invited the residents here to join in with us, and staff as well, with various instruments. So a bit more of an interactive component to today's session as well.
They started hopping out of the house in their thousands, hopping along towards the tree. And unlike toads that you think of, they started climbing the tree. They stripped all the tree of its foliage, the bark, the leaves, until they got in the sack with Cecil. And they ate poor Cecil, leaving only his bones.
They really engaged, and you can see them going, ooh, ah, and they really bought in, and they were laughing and giggling, and they thought it was wonderful.
The nurses all ran out, and the priest said, grab anything you can, and let's kill these toads. And they started killing the toads. And with each toad they killed, 5 more sprung in its place, like the heads of a hydra being cut off by a Greek hero. Did you enjoy it?
Oh, there today?
Yeah.
I thoroughly did.
Yeah.
That bloke with a story himself, and I'd heard parts of it before, in years when I was growing up.
Really?
Yeah.
You'd
not
heard
all
some
of
stories
it.
before?
Yeah, not all of it,
Yeah.
just certain parts of it.
Yeah. So it was a good reminder today.
Yeah. He was an art in telling the story. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I thought he was excellent.
It was wonderful.
You enjoyed it?
We never had a thing like that before.
Yeah.
It was excellent. And Beth Ann, it was good.
Yeah. What did you like about it?
Well, he was able to give very quotations or saying the thing. He knew when it was to laugh and when it was not to laugh, like, you know.
Yeah.
You know, and the stories, well, whether they're true or not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And there was a lot of local places mentioned in the stories as well. Did you recognise some of the places?
I recognise them all. It's in dialogue.
Yeah.
I try my best to match the location to the stories and vice versa as well. So if I'm going to a new place, I'll do the research. If I already know them, I'll know that I'll be able to tell. And Carmarthenshire, West Wales in general, has an untold wealth of folk tales.
I heard a few residents say, oh, I was born there, or I know someone who was from there. So yes, bringing that extra bit of the local surroundings into the home was also wonderful, because these are residents who may not have got out recently, and so you're bringing the outside in.
You're in the band.
One of these, or would you like one of those? What are you thinking?
Who wants some?
There we are. Just shake it. It was great to see some of the residents today talking enthusiastically about what music they like, some of the instruments, and it's increasing that social connection and hopefully tackling maybe things like isolation that can happen sometimes, and through a different means from just using verbal communication.
There you go.
So it brings togetherness, it brings their Welsh culture into it. Even those who are not necessarily from Wales, they buy into that culture of Wales, into these stories and how these villages were made, even though they're myths and tales. They really bought into that Welsh culture, and it brought togetherness, connectedness, and it created a sense of community because they were all sharing in that.
From a well-being perspective, you know, in terms of memory, in some of the work that I've done one-on-one with people with dementia, for instance, and other cognitive ailments, it's anecdotal, but I've seen measurable improvements with the people that I've worked with week to week, with their ability to recall, with their ability to find a voice and actually speak. It's not me doing that, I'm not a magician. That's storytelling, that's the tales. We don't share enough stories anymore, and it's one of the things I think that kept us going and will keep us going again. Isn't that the strangest story you've ever heard at all?